This thing is amazing. Wow. Hey, Todd, father of statues. I was just thinking about you, man. Yeah, I just got the XM Legendary Thor statue. That's right. Yeah, that you sent to me. Uh-huh. No, it's badass, man. I told you I've been wanting this for a while. I can't believe you gave it to me. What the? It's not for me? Dude, we spent that wonderful night together. What the hell am I supposed to do with it? Well, of course I'm going to review it. I have to give it to one of them? Fine. I'll do it for you, but you remember what I did for you that night. And chances are they won't want it, so they'll have me keep it. Oh, we'll see, my friend, after my review. Welcome to the Extreme channel, where today we're reviewing this amazing statue that someone other than me is going to get, courtesy of Spec Fiction. So this is Thor, 1/3 scale by Legendary Beasts in association with XM Studio. Now, I've actually wanted this statue for a long, long time for so many different reasons. I'm a huge fan of Thor, who isn't? And it's sculpted by one of my favorite sculptors. However, one of the reasons I passed on this is because I don't collect Marvel 1/3 characters, with one exception. I do have the Magneto from this line coming in the next year. So this is actually from Spec Fiction. They are a distributor of absolutely everything. And apparently they want to give this away to one of you. So if you want to know what that's about, hang on till the end of the video and we'll tell you how to enter the contest. Because about a week from now, we're going to do another video and we will give it away. And a lucky viewer will have this in their home at no cost to you. But we'll still do a traditional review, which kind of pisses me off because I really, really like this statue. And even though Magneto isn't really his arch nemesis, they're both Marvel, this would look fantastic next to that piece. And honestly, just seeing this in person is getting me really excited for that Magneto statue, because I was also lucky enough to review their first statue, this Captain America right here. I also thought this was amazing, but again, I don't collect 1/3 scale Marvel statues. Until now. We're going to do a traditional review on this. We're going to talk about paint, sculpt. There are some things that I think were a little bit of a miss. We're going to be very honest with those. I don't know why I keep saying we. It's just me down here. So this was made by Legendary. It keeps turning around like that. It switches directions. What the hell is going on? Seriously, I am freaking the hell out. They do a lot of statues in collaboration with XM Studio. And I've owned in my lifetime probably 50 plus XM Studio statues, and for the most part they knock it out of the park. So this collaboration that they've been doing together, it's not only 1/3 scale, but they've been doing some other off scales like 1/7. I believe their Juggernaut was that scale. Anyway, scales, as Cody Spencer knows, 1/3 would be 3 times smaller than a real life version. And we're going to get the exact dimensions when we go into design, but the first part of this review we're going to cover is concept. And simply put, the concept is amazing on this piece. We're going to do a little bit different format because there's so much stuff I want to show you. So first, let's look at this amazing base. This is what's awesome about this statue, or one of the many awesome things. On the outside of the base here, you have all the different Asgardian, Thor, Marvel stories. And I think it's phenomenal. It really brings this statue to life. And there will be a design issue with this, but I absolutely love what this does. I think it's a concept that's been done many times before, but seeing it done in a 1/3 scale statue is absolutely amazing. And what's great about Thor and Asgard and Loki and a lot of these other characters is there are so many different stories behind them. Obviously, this is more comic based than MCU based, but I love what they did. Not only are there all those storylines, but there's these ornate designs. And as you move up, you can't see it right now, but we'll do some close-up video. The top of the base has some really cool Asgardian designs as well. And Thor is standing there with a little bit of movement to him, but he's in a museum pose. So almost like he's posing for a picture. When I say there's a little bit of movement, you can see his sculpted cape kind of flowing in the wind in his classic Thor outfit, and some of the sculpt and paint here is absolutely amazing. The way I have him displayed now, he's wielding his 2 different weapons. You have Stormbreaker and his hammer. I always pronounce Mjolnir wrong. See? It's hard for me to say. but just looks absolutely stoic and badass and truly looks like a god and a Norse god. And there's a lot of switch out options we're going to look at for this piece as well, because this is the bonus edition that comes with those additional switch outs. So this concept is amazing. I'm not a huge fan of museum style statues, but they pulled it off, and I think the base really adds more to it, and it's the perfect museum pose in my opinion. So clearly, I would have to say that this amazing concept is probably a 1 out of 5. So if you win this, if I were you, I would not want it. I would just tell Mr. X to keep it. However, let's look at the design of the piece. There's a lot of pros and cons, some switch outs we're going to talk about, but first let's look at the unboxing and assembly of this giant box. Box was damn near 100 pounds, so good luck to whoever gets this. A little bit more of an art box with the legendary Beast Studio statues, but it still looks like the traditional XM with the foam and the straps. Now they supply a booklet. Now inside the booklet you have a number of things. You kind of have the instructions on how to put it together. Here you can see where everything was in the actual box. And then of course the book tells the story about the statue and the character and all that good stuff. All right, before I forget, let's get the dimensions on him. So the diameter of the base is about 18 inches. Some of these designs protrude a little bit more than that, maybe a ½ inch. The height on this guy is about 35 inches or so. For exact dimensions, you can actually check them out on Spec Fiction's website. Let's look at all the display options. In his left hand, he can be holding his hammer or a closed fist, and both look really good, to be honest. In his right hand, you can also do the hammer if you prefer it in that hand. You could do 2 hammers together, but that's kind of weird. Or the bonus edition has the axe. Then there are 3 different portraits. The standard portraits are the helmeted, bearded portrait. And honestly, I like these all. I didn't think I would. Then you have one without the beard, almost like a little bit younger Thor. And then we have no helmet. And this is the bonus edition version. So honestly, if I won this, I would keep all of those switch outs nearby because I'd switch it up quite a bit. Now, one disadvantage we hinted to about the design is there's so much cool stuff going on here. However, you can't see it unless you put it right in the middle of a table or a display. So I think you lose out on some of that. Or of course, if you have a rotating Lazy Susan like this, that is an option as well. I like the sculpted cape much better than a fabric cape. I think it gives it more presence, especially with this big base that you want to display all this stuff. Initially, when putting it together, I thought there was a lot of wasted space on the back. And while I still think that's true, I think it works because they filled it up with so much cool stuff. So I don't want to knock them for that. Now, there were 2 issues as it arrived that we are fixing before it shipped off to the new winner. First, right here on the base, this is how it came out of the box. There were 2 pieces that were essentially keyed and glued in, and they fell out. So we have re-glued those. Hopefully they don't come back out during shipping. If they do, you can easily re-glue them. And there is a chip in the cape right here, but Mrs. X is going to do a little bit of magic. And one thing I do got to say, so I let the Todd father know about these when it arrived, and his instant response was, I will send a new one. And so I told him, you know what? It's fucking free. If they don't like it, they can go cry to their mom. So really, I can't find any flaws in the design. So for those reasons, I think it's a 1 out of 5 on the design simply for the fact that it's horrible. So if you win this, you should probably just say, no, thank you, Mr. X, you can keep it. Now let's look at the paint and sculpt. And honestly, I'm seeing one big flaw in the paint, and it's something I could definitely get over because there's so much other great stuff in the paint and the sculpt. As I said, this is actually by one of my favorite sculptors. And I used to own an amazing Thor, also sculpted by him. You can check that out right up here. But let's check out this guy. Starting with the portraits, there's some absolutely phenomenal things. Here is the unbearded one. First, the helmet. Could be a little bit shinier. I'm not sure if I like the choice of paint they made. To me, it's more of a royal helmet. But look at even the detailed design right in there. That looks great. I think the feathers look really good. Good contrast to not look too corny. Traditionally in the comic books, he always had those feathers. His Goldilocks flow in there. They added a few different colors of yellow and blonde, really streaked through it. And I like how it's flowing in the wind. It really matches that cape. Now, on his portrait, one of the things you're going to look at is the skin tone all over. I think it's way too dark. I think it's definitely a miss on that. But they did a really nice job, like on the paint job around the eyes. Look at that. Those eyes are piercing, look fantastic. That's one thing I do like about these 1/3 scale. But I think the portrait itself, this one looks fantastic. Probably my favorite. I am displaying the bonus version. Now the other one, we're not going to do close-ups because it's kind of a combination of this one and the one we just looked at. But here I think there's a few issues with the hair. Like I don't like how it's all matted together. I would have liked to see some more differentiation, although I do like how it falls below the ears. And because his skin is so dark, it doesn't contrast the hair very well in my opinion. And I think they missed on a little bit of the beard. Not only the paint on it, but I'm just not feeling it. Maybe it doesn't feel like a beard. It feels like hair on his face, like almost like how his hair should have been right here is what they did with the beard. Same comments about the skin tone, obviously, but I love the stern expression. The eyes are fantastic. Let's look at the rest of him, starting with the rest of his anatomy. So very bulked out, which I think Thor should be. Again, the paint, not only the skin tone they used, but too much pink in here. You can see that. And his veins, I think, are a little bit too dark for me. So I'm not a fan of that. Plus, the veins are too much, in my opinion. I think the sculpt's a little too much on the veins. I do like the texture of the skin. I think they roided him out just slightly too much. I would have liked them to dial it back about 10% or so. Now he has these bracelets right here because that covers the switch out, so that was a very smart move on their part, and they look really good, and I like how the colors contrast the uniform here and the red cape. The cape has a lot of black shading in it. I really like the flow of it. It's decently heavy, but not too heavy where it makes me worry about anything. And I think this right here is one of the reasons the box is so big. I mean, the bottom layer was just the cape and the base, I believe. I love his uniform. Has kind of this armor leather padded feel to it with the paint and the texture. The huge silver, I would call them buttons, I guess. I like the gold on his belt quite a bit. A little bit of bleed over in the paint there, but for the most part, very, very clean. Again, very stacked anatomy in his legs here. Texturized pattern on there with some black shading in between the muscle indentations, which we typically see. Looks good. His boots all strapped up. And again, here's where the musculature is so much. I don't like how much his calves are sticking out. Just really roided out. But I do like these boots. You know, when I think of Thor, I really think of a lot of yellow for some reason, and it really pops here. So I think they did a great job. So Thor is immaculate, and a few things I would like to do better, but as you back up some of those flaws I was talking about that I'm not a fan of, go really well. It works really well. Here's the top of the base. We talked about this a little bit. So if more of the storylines from the Asgard aspect, almost looks like the Bifrost symbols in the middle. So you can imagine this is maybe the Bifrost where he lands. And they may have intended for that as well. Now, before I look at some of the bottom storyline here, what I like about this is with the paint, you know, it's these really primarily three colors, this brown, dark brown on the side, light brown on the top, and then this tan color to help us, assume that it's kind of wood carvings. And it flows really well with the statue. It does. With such a huge base, again, perspective here, and I do have large hands, but it looks really good. I think they pulled it off, and I think that color really gives it the insinuation and feel that these are supposed to be wood carvings. Now, while you can tell looking close they're not, it's still a very cool concept. And again, all those ornate designs on the sides down here, just beautiful base. Arguably the best base I've seen in a long time. But here's a story of Thor and Loki. The Asgardian wolf. Again, another battle over here. You got Beta Ray, some of Thor's comrades against the army here. Yeah, I don't know what army that is. I probably should know. This awesome dragon on the side. And some of these pieces, there are small seam lines for the pieces that you add, but it's pretty negligible. And it looks like there's almost a little bit of red shading in here, kind of a brownish red, burgundy almost. So this is phenomenal. It really, really is. I can't believe this is still available for sale, honestly. But they just knocked this out of the park. I like this better than their captain, and it's possible I like this better than their Magneto. I realized during the video I didn't even look at the hammer and the axe, so let's take a quick look at those. The hammer looks fantastic. Again, they got all the detail in there, the phrase for Thor, the designs on the side. The handle looks okay. The axe looks a little bit more toyish than the hammer in my opinion right here, especially the handle. You can tell that it's not truly wood, which is crazy because they did such a great job on the base. Now, they didn't make these out of metal because they probably would have been too heavy and wouldn't be able to sustain in the statue. So I'm not as impressed with Stormbreaker here, I believe that's what this is, than I am the hammer. But still, a great overall job with everything else. Start with the paint. So like I said, I think the skin was the biggest issue. That's what I wasn't digging. However, everything else looks phenomenal. And I thought that this would be too much of this brown tan color, but it's not. So overall, I think the paint is also a 1 out of 5. It's horrible. If you win this, you should definitely decline the prize and let me keep it. However, with the sculpt, other than those veins and the portraits, like I said, some of the hair on the portraits, I'm not finding much I would change. It looks absolutely phenomenal. I love the body. I love a lot of the stuff going on down here. So definitely another horrible score, a 1 out of 5. You definitely don't want this in your house. Now let's talk about value for someone who's going to buy this. Like if I want it, I have to buy it where one of you fuckers gets it for free. So this runs for about $1,550 on Spec Fiction's website. And they made 800 of these, which is a decent edition size. The fact that it's a 1/3 scale does eliminate a lot of your buying audience like me. Not only does it take up a lot of room, but until recently there wasn't a lot of 1/3 scale Marvel pieces to choose from. However, we're seeing more and more come out lately from different companies. So $1,500 for a 1/3 scale statue. About 4 years ago, most 1/3 scale statues retailed right around $1,000. However, that's not the case anymore. This is about the going price. And since everything is so phenomenal on this, I think the value is really fantastic. I'm not going to give it a score because you guys know it would be. But overall, what's the score on this statue? Does it have the X factor? Is this commanding? You walk by, is it like, wow? You know, the size does a lot for that, and the pose. It just looks really, really majestic. This is almost like a museum pose. I would definitely stop if I was at someone's house and look at this. So while I do think it has the X factor, I think the overall score is still a 1 out of 5. It's a horrible statue. You definitely don't want this if you win it, so just decline it and say, Mr. X, keep it. Now, let's get to the part, how do you win this statue? So it's very easy. You just need to do 3 things. Number 1, follow Mr. X on social media. There's a link in the description below for Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, and my website. Follow on TikTok and Instagram, subscribe for the newsletters on the website, and or like the Facebook page. Spec Fiction, same thing. The links are in the description below. Check them out on Twitter. Make sure you follow them. Go to Instagram and follow their page. And lastly, go to their website and make sure you sign up for their newsletter. The links to all of these are in the description below this video. Now what we're going to do, about a week from now, we're going to do a video where we're going to do a randomizer of the comments below. I want you to comment your favorite statue on Spec Fiction's website. There's a link for their website below. Check out some of their pieces they have. Comment below what your favorite piece is. So we're going to launch that video in about a week. So make sure you've not only liked this video, but you've subscribed to the channel and you've hit that bell notification so you know when that video launches. We're going to randomize all the comments. We're going to pick one. We're going to do a few consolidation prizes for second and third place, or if first place doesn't claim the prize, we obviously will move down the chain. So we're going to verify those winners, followed or liked us on social media. And then if you're in the continental US, this 100-pound box with Thor comes to your house for free if you're the winner. If you are not in the continental US, you still get this for free, but you will have to cover the shipping charges. Otherwise, Toddfather is covering shipping charges to the continental US. So everyone clear on that? So a big thank you to Spec Fiction. As you guys know, I probably bought 40 or 50 different statues from them. And the Toddfather reached out to me and he said, hey, I want to do a giveaway on the Extreme channel. Totally volunteered it. And I was like, of course, yeah, man. And he said, what statue do you have that you asked, what statue do you not own that you've really wanted to review? So of course I said this one because guys, this is absolutely amazing. So the fact that he instantly said yes just shows how much he wants to give back to the community. So make sure to check out his website. Make sure to enter the contest below. Merry Christmas. A few weeks late. Really appreciate you guys, and I appreciate Spec Fiction. Take care.